Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the Rangers Rabble podcast. Hopefully, back to our normal timetable now. Well, in saying that, we've got an international break coming up, so we'll see what happens there. Welcome along. It's the Old Firm preview. Plenty to discuss tonight, including transfers, managers' press conferences, certain players going away to the African Cup of Nations. Tons to talk about. And I am joined by Bryan, Mark, and this is Ross's own words, from Bin Laden's cave, Ross Clark. Ross, how are you?
Mate, I'm very good. Mate, I don't understand it, man. I have got lights in my house, to be honest. I promise I've got lights. I don't know. The camera just doesn't seem to pick it up. But
do you want to show us your light just to prove
it? There is a light up there. There's a light there. There's a ring light there. Mate, I've got more lights in Glasgow Airport. I'm worried that I end up with a 737 through the roof. But here we go, man. Brutal.
Oh, the beauty of camera work. Bryan, how are you, my friend?
Very good, very good. It's like Christmas Eve for Rangers fans. It's the night before, so a bit excited and looking forward to tomorrow.
I know it's weird how everyone's got a different approach on Old Firm Eve. Some are nervous, some don't care, don't have any nerves, just totally looking forward to it. Mark, I'm one of those people that, I'm pessimistic going into Old Firm games, even if they were on a 6-game losing streak and we were on a 400-game winning streak, I'm still nervous. I'm still pessimistic. What about yourself?
I think everybody on here knows that I'm very much the positive type. I'm a half full type of guy. So I'm always positive. I always get faith in my team. But as you all know, form goes out the window, doesn't it? In an Old Firm game, form's just forget it. Whoever wants it more is going to win it. That's what we've learned over the years.
And you're still enjoying your Secret Santa present?
Do you like it? Look, I was over the moon. I think it was meant to be a bit of wind up, so I get that. And I didn't even know they'd done it anymore. Rangers annual. 2024. So I think it was meant to be a wind up. But Christmas Day, I was sitting in my Rangers bedspread with my Rangers album annual, like I was 8-year-old again. So just out of sheer piggery, I've stuck it on just to noise them up and just say, do you know what? I'm sticking it on. So happy days.
Yeah, Mark is at home sometimes, but he tends to enjoy the Christmas and New Year period away from home for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't enjoy it at all. Take that back. Somebody's a dirty job. Somebody's got to do it. It's as simple as that.
Yes, they do. Can I just say to everybody, hello, welcome. I was double checking the numbers, and we now have a target to meet, and that is by the end of the season. We need 500 more subscribers, and we will be on 10,000. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe. If you're on YouTube, if you haven't already, tell your mates about the podcast. If they enjoy pods, get them to tune in. Although everybody seems to be having trouble with lighting, including myself. Make sure you share the podcast, like, subscribe, follow us on all our socials, etc., etc. And clearly, with my wee introduction there, Bryan, I was boring you.
No, not at all.
No, are you sure?
Not at all. Yes.
Yeah. We are also sponsored by NordVPN, as you can see up there. Use a link in the description for up to 63% off a 2-year deal. Other deals, of course, are available. But if you use the link in the description, then you help to support the podcast, as well as giving you the opportunity to fly to certain countries to watch certain football games. So, yeah, there you go. Right, Bryan, loads to talk about. Absolutely, Hunters. I think we need to start with the new signing. And the reason that I'm coming to you first is obviously you spoke to Dave from the Talking Wolves podcast yesterday. If you haven't seen that, go and check it out. It's available on audio download and it's available on the Rangers Rabble YouTube channel. What was your takeaway for that, Bryan?
I went into it quite sort of apprehensive in the sense that I wasn't sort of sure how to sort of evaluate the sort of signing. I was, I just didn't know much about him, so I was nervous on what he was going to tell us, but I came away from it being a little bit more positive in the sense that he's got to come to us and prove that he can still do a job either in the league or in Europe. It's clear that I don't think Wolves are going to keep him beyond the summer. They've thought it was like a 10% chance that he could actually muscle his way back into the squad. So in a sense, he has put himself in the shop window playing for Rangers. So he's got to do well if he, to encourage his next move. Because there was a lot of, he signed for Wolves when he was 19, a young, 35 million, a lot of money. He's only 21 now, so he's still relatively young. It's a lot of pressure on young shoulders, but Dave was very positive in the sense that he's got bundles of energy. He can finish. He's a very much a hybrid in the sense that he's not a poacher, but he's not a link-up striker. He can do both. So there was that sort of, that was good news to me as well, because when we play the low blocks, he's in the box. He can find something. But if we're playing a better quality team, he can come deeper and interact with the attacking midfielders. So I came away from it feeling a lot more positive, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play.
We found out in the press conference today, Ross. Obviously, the deal's been thrashed out for a good few weeks. It just seemed to come out the blue. Rangers and Wolves, I suppose, done well to kind of keep it quiet. A few different questions. I'm going to try and play a wee bit of devil's advocate, Ross. So I'll take this one to you. It's not every day that a £35 million player comes to play in Scotland, right? With that said, but is he the type of player that we need?
I think you've got two sides to that coin. It isn't very often that to a player of that value, and is he worth that value? Is he shown enough to be worth that value? Bearing in mind last season, at this time of the season before, was it last season we brought in Diallo? Last season before. So he was also rated about that, bought for 20, but add-ons taken up to 40 million, and he came here and he was very much a youth player trying to cut his teeth in the SPFL. With this guy, the difference seems to be that he's played at a decent level of football competitively, PSV, games in the Premier League. Now, Wolves are a team who have got cracking forwards and wingers. I don't think they can dispute that. So you can understand why he's maybe not broke through their team. But the fact that we've managed to go and make that transfer happen, no matter how much folk will try and tell you that nobody else wanted him and he was getting offered around and nobody wanted to take him. There's blogs, there's podcasts, there's pictures, there's people tweeting about him, there's documents. Celtic wanted the boy. Celtic's fans wanted the boy. And I must be living in Bin Laden's cave, as I said, because I didn't know anything about him. I watched Bryan's interview with a boy from Wales yesterday and was really impressed with what he said. And also, as I said to Bryan there, I'm not sure how far off, not knowing a lot about the boy, I don't know how far off he is from Portugal squad for the Euros. And even if he's miles off it, I would have said Sima was probably miles off the Senegal squad for the AFCONs until he came here and had a good half season. So is there still a chance for the boy to maybe get into one of the last positions for Portugal as he try to put himself in the shop window? Have Wolves decided that we're the place to send him in order to add that value back to him if they want to sell him? I think the boy Dave says yesterday, 10% chance, Bryan, coming back to Wolves and playing. So they obviously feel that we can give him shop window. And for me, they must have looked at us, had discussions with Clement and our new director of football, what type of football we want to play, and they must have all agreed that that's how you get the best out the boy, and that's what's going to give Wolves the best value and give Rangers the best player that we could get. Going to take that back. I don't think he's the best player we could have got for our league, but hopefully we'll still get him at some point in the next few weeks. But
who would you possibly be alluding to, Ross?
I'd be alluding to Lawrence Shankland, mate. You know exactly who I'm alluding to. You know exactly who I'm alluding to. But this boy coming in maybe gives us a bargaining tool as well. We are our clubs. Shankland's probably not the only striker we're looking at. We want to get players in the first week in January. We want to have players to go into this tour of Spain. So us going and getting a player of that calibre in says to other clubs, look, see if you're not going to do business with us early in the window and you want to drag it on, we'll just go and get somebody else. I think it's a really good stance that Clement set out, and also think that it could be a difference maker if all the calculations they've done come together and we get to the end of the season and he's contributed with 8 goals and 6 assists and it's turned your 1-1 draw against Aberdeen into a 2-1 win. I don't think MD will be complaining.
No, they'll be complaining. And Mark, I suppose, probably one of the main reasons that we got him, whether people think that he's the right player for us, whether they think, which would be crazy to think he's not good enough, right? But just, if you look at his record, a lot of people are comparing him to a certain other player, which to me is absolute nonsense. But one of the main reasons, if not the main reason that we got him, is because we're actually decent in Europe.
I think you're 100% right. For me, the signing shows the board's intent, Clement's intent. Whether you kind of split hairs, but if you look at the bigger picture, we've went and got a young striker that's really well thought of, that a club's thought that much of, that they've went and spent 35 to 40 million on this boy. So, I mean, that in itself is, and we never messed about. He's holding the scarf above his head. He's wearing the strip, and the photos are done even before the window's open. So for me, that shows that they're not messing about. For me, that's something that I really, really like. The other thing that I really, really like is he's not willing to speculate. He's not willing to talk. He's not willing to give you tidbits. He says when it happens, we'll let you know and we'll talk about it then. He'd done it again today in his press conference. I'm sure we'll get on to, but and nothing came out about him. It was a wee snippet here and there for the last couple of days, but that was it. Boom, it was in. So to say a good statement, I think, for the club. I think that if they're going to look to do their business, it did kind of allude to say that they've got a few other things in the pipeline that hopefully they'll go over the line. But he did say, I hope to win every single game. So I think it was a wee bit tongue in cheek there. But yeah, I think it's a great bit of business. Absolutely fantastic bit of business. I really do.
Well, I mean, the question you've got to ask yourself is where he comes in and where he plays, which the manager was a wee bit coy about. He didn't exactly come out the day, Bryan, and say he's going to be an out-and-out striker. He didn't say he's going to play behind the striker, play wide. So we don't know where he's going to play. But the question that you have to ask when any new signing's brought in, is he better than what we already have? And I don't think there's too many people, and we'll come on to his record in a minute, but I don't think there's too many people who can genuinely sit there and say, nah, he's not as good as what we've got.
No, he's a definite upgrade on what we've got. I mean, the only person you could possibly say that can sort of not rival him, but sort of standard wise is Seaman in that respect, because he came with a lot of bluster and highly thought of. So yeah, he's clearly an upgrade on anything we've got. I think it was Shona said in the comments that he's the captain of the under-21s Portugal. He's the leading goal scorer for the under-21 Portugal. So he's a leader in that respect. So it's good in a sense that he's got that leadership qualities in him at such a young age. And he's not obviously scared to move to different countries, because he's moved to Wolves, obviously, from Porto. He went then to Anderlecht on loan last season, and then PSV for the second half of last season. So he's not scared to take up a challenge and go to a new club. And it's definitely, as you said, he's an upgrade on anything we've got by a good stretch. And just to sort of say what Socrates said there, Dave confirmed last night, he's on roughly about 40,000 a week. He's not on anything like 80,000, like a lot of people said. I think he signed when he first signed, he was on 37,000, and then he upgraded to 42,000. So it's nothing like 80 grand a week or whatever folk are saying. So I believe we are paying a good chunk of that wage ourselves, but speculate to accumulate. If it ends up us winning the league, it's a gamble.
I don't think we're paying the full 42, but because we've got a wage cap, and I don't think we're going over that wage cap. It might be 35 or something like that.
Yeah.
That's just speculation for me, but I don't think. I know Fabrizio, who seems to know everything, said that we are covering his full wage, but I would be amazed if we were covering. I mean, if it was, it sounds stupid for 2 grand. If it was 40, maybe. But I don't think we would break that wage cap to 42. And Ross, just finally on the Silva thing, 51 games last year, 22 goal contributions, and it was over 2 loans. He done well at PSV, he done well at Anderlecht, he does well for Portugal under 21s. There's there's no shame in struggling in the EPL. But if you do well in Belgium, if you do well in Holland, surely you can do well in Scotland.
I think that's the way to look at it. The EPL's levels above Scottish football, but you look at our results in Europe over the last few years. Obviously, beat PSV last year and get beat by them this year. You're looking at Ichi Pichi. And if he's been at that level and had goal contributions, and that's how I was quite coy with what I said earlier. If he gets 8 goals and 6 assists, because we need other players to start scoring goals as well. We can't just be relying on Sima constantly cutting in, especially when he's going away now. So for me, we need to look at other avenues. By the way, I don't know why every time I put my hand on my face, the room lights up as if I've opened up a genie's bottle. I'm not sure what's going on here, Martin, to be honest. I'm going to look at my camera settings. But where was I going with it? I think if he can get goal contributions, he's played off the left, I believe that boy said for Wales, but no played off the right. For me, the new Sima's nailed on, plays on the left every big game. That's Sima's position. Wonder if there's any scope for this boy to come off the right with a bit more of a goal threat eventually, some games as well. The boy Dave said he can play sort of off the striker, shadow striker, number 10. I think we're overloaded in there, and I'd rather we used the likes of
he's not going to take Lammers at the team, is he? There's no way he's...
Mate, I'd take Lammers at the back, scant him, and just put him in a bin, man. That's what I'd do with Lammers. Like you used to do in school when you get hit with the bullies. Mate, for me, Cantwell, we've got to find a system that gets the best out of Cantwell in the 10 again, the same way we did last season, because he's our player. He's here for another 3-4 years after this year. We need to be getting the best out of him. There's no point bringing a player in that we know we can't afford at the end of the season, giving them 6 months in there and making our own number 10s unhappy. But there's definitely a space in that right midfield. Me and Bryan were talking about it before. I think McCausland is in danger of Leon King syndrome, whereby you go in the first 2 games you play, first 3 games maybe adrenaline gets you through and you're a young boy with no pressure on your back. But see, once you start starting 5-6 games and that becomes your position to lose, I think he's went into his shell a wee bit. I think if we had another option, we could take him out of there. I'm not saying he's not good enough to play for Rangers. Don't everybody get on my back. I'm just saying at this moment in time, I don't think he should be playing extended 6-8 game runs for the start at 20 years of age when he's only just coming in. I've seen it with Leon King, and he ended up having to get took out the team for a season to recover. You're only just starting to see him again now. And looking back through time, it's happened to numerous players. So I think that there's definitely going to be an improvement. He's going to be an improvement on Dessers. For Bryan would be an improvement on Dessers 90% of the time. But
Bryant's an improvement on anybody. So
you just hope, mate, that we can get through the Mora before we can induct him into the team. And listen, we're not in that bad a shape for the Mora, because I look at announcement videos coming out on Twitter earlier on for players. Cole's at the back, mate. She's in a black bin bag pulling out the Israel flags. She was about to set on fire because Abad is back fit, mate. All of a sudden, Celtic are pinning their hopes on the Green Brigade. They're pinning their hopes on a guy who 3 months ago they didn't want anything to do with their team because they're in that bad a nick. Don't let them fool you, mate. They're in a bad nick. If we go there tomorrow, we need to go and play our own game. We need to get through this last hurdle before we can add fresh legs in. And I just hope we can do it. But this boy, 2nd of January, I'd like to see him right in the team right away and get a good 30 minutes in him the last half of the Kilmarnock game, and then away on his wee winter training camp, get him really embedded in the team, and hopefully by that point we'll have some other new legs in there as well. This really does feel like the final hurdle.
See this winter camp, do you know what? See this winter break, it's a nonsense, but however, we're not here to discuss that. Just quickly, Mark, disgruntled bear. Fabio taking the number 7 shirt is interesting. Does that spell the end of Hadji as well? I mean, I can't see it. I mean, if he comes in and does phenomenal, it would be amazing if we could. But listen, we can't afford Fabio Silva on a permanent deal at the end of the season. That's never ever going to happen. Hadji's out on loan until the end of the season, so I don't really think we should read too much into shirt numbers, should we?
No, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, I noticed that as well. I think what it does confirm is that Hadji's probably not going to come back in January, which is a lot of people shout. But no, I'm not going to get too carried away. I'd like to see Hadji back. I think he's a fantastic player. But the fact that the number 7 shirt, it's only on loan. It's only on loan for 6. I nearly said 7 months there because we were talking about number 7, but it's only on loan for the last 6 months of the season. So he will go, like you said, rightly so. I don't think we can afford this boy. Even if best case scenario, he comes here, scores goals for fun, and helps to win us a league. And if he does that, you're definitely not going to be able to afford them. So for me, I'd rather have came here, set the heather alight, scored a barrel load, and moved on for X, Y, Z amount of millions, and he moves on with a league winners medal. It's only a loan. That 7 shirt's only a loan. I think that they will have a look at Hadji pre-season and they'll make a decision from then, unless something stupid comes in for Turkey or somewhere like that. Somebody offers us stupid money from then. I think it's semantics. I think it'll go, but I think Clement will bring everybody back that's on loan in the summer and have a look at them. So I think that I don't think it's end for Hadji. I don't know.
No, and even if we could afford Silva's wages, and even if he would bring his wage demands down, we will never be able to afford the transfer fee because there's no way Wolves are accepting anything less than, well, what would you say, 30 million. They want to recoup some, if not most, of the transfer fee. So there's no way we could afford the transfer fee. Even if we spread it over 8 years, we still couldn't afford the transfer fee. All right, lads. Are we not getting an Xmas quiz? Love a wee Rabble quiz night. You will be getting a quiz, but it will be during this ridiculously stupid winter break that we seem to do in this country, and then claim that we've got no spaces available for games to be replayed. So there'll be a couple of quizzes, and Stu's sorting all of that out. So we will keep you updated. If you are subscribed, I don't know why I went all high pitched there. If you are subscribed with notifications on and you keep an eye on the community page on our YouTube channel, you will find everything that you need to know in terms of upcoming shows and what's coming next. And like I said at the very beginning, we are 500 subscribers away from 10,000 on YouTube. So if that's where you're watching, or if you're not, if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter and you've got YouTube, head over, subscribe, and then go back to wherever you were watching. Mark, straight back to you then, because the manager was asked in his press conference today about transfers. Obviously getting this deal done really quickly, which is something that we're not used to with Rangers. We're used to waiting until the last minute, and 8 times out of 10, we're left unsatisfied. So do you expect much more? Because the manager, again, which he's every right to do and which he should do, was extremely coy when asked a question about a striker coming in, what other positions he wants to come in. Will we do more business? Will we spend much money? Will it be loans, or will we not do much more, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I think we need to spend a couple of quid. I think we need a centre midfielder, as probably tomorrow's team lines will show you that we need a centre midfielder because everybody's injured. I think that for me as well, I would bring in another striker. I think we're desperately in need of another striker. I think that although Silva's come in, he's not played a lot of football in the last couple of months, so he's going to take a couple of weeks, possibly a month, to get up to speed, to get match fit. So I would bring in another striker, another centre mid. There's all sorts of talk about left backs as well. I think we can get away with left back until the end of the season. But if the deal's right and you can get somebody in that's going to have 6 months looking to kick on for next season, then by all means. So say then, and obviously that's kind of dependent on the fact that there's talk of possibly Yilmaz going back to Turkey as well. So I think if you get an offer for Yilmaz, I think he goes and you bring somebody in with a view to looking at next year. So whoever, if that's the case, whoever you bring in fights it out with Barisic for the shirt till the end of the season. I think Barisic, he's run his course. I think he's been a great servant. He's you can't fault he's crossing the ball. You can't, but I just feel the last kind of 2 seasons he's just dropped. There's 10-15% just come off of what he's capable of. I don't know whether that's a attitude thing. I don't know whether it's a just getting older. He's lost a yard. But I think that for me, a striker, a central midfielder, and possibly a left back. Personally, I would bring in another centre half as well. But as I said, we're beggars can't be choosers.
Brian, I don't understand this, and look, maybe Mark's right, maybe people in the comments are right, maybe it's just me. Usually is just me. But I've been quite happy with Radvan's performances. I think he's a really good left back. I think he needs to obviously stay injury free and get a run in the team. And with Marco and Borner, I would like to see us get rid of Borner as soon as possible. Again, just my own personal preference. Other people may argue that point. I don't think in January left back is necessarily the position that we should be worried about.
No, I don't think it is. I think the problem with Yilmaz is that if you had Borna's physical attributes, Borna's delivery, put that into Yilmaz, then you've got the perfect left back, because Yilmaz is a really good defender. I've never worried when he's 1-on-1 with a winger. He's very tenacious. He doesn't really give up. As you say, he hasn't had a run in the team, so we've always said that you need guys to get a run in the team to sort of build up the confidence and get the understanding with the centre backs and the midfielders and the forwards. So he's been very unlucky in the sense that he has dodged the starting 11 a few times. But I'm more than happy, as you say, that Borna will be leaving in the summer. It might he leave in January? We don't know. We've been linked today, as I said. There's various Twitter pages on Rangers that we're being linked with various left backs. So it's something that it's certainly an area of the pitch that we need to look at. Does it need to be January? I don't think so. But things might happen. Borna might leave. We might need to get somebody in. So it's a case of, if somebody throws in a few wad of cash at us for Borna for, to get him in to their team now, then we take that and try and sign another left back. So it's very much, as Mark said, the priority is the sort of forward line in the midfield just now.
Well, I can confirm. Well, I can't confirm, but I can confirm through our WhatsApp group that Cyril Dessers has not been selected in the Nigeria squad, so he will be fully available during AFCON. Kazi, Wagner a free makes sense, no point buying a left back. Sid, Devine will be fine at left back with Borna. Kazi again, Radvan final ball and cross is shocking. And again, Sid, Radvan is too wee. Sean is saying that Radvan isn't suited to our league. And again, Sid, as ever, Borna's fine, man. Ross, what's your thoughts on Radvan? Is he not suited to our league?
I don't see why he's not. He's a good one-on-one defender. I don't want to take away from Mark and his comedy moments on here, but I done a bit of my homework there while we were hanging.
Done his research on no.
That's what I was doing on my phone there. I wasn't being rude. Greg Taylor is 5'7". Radvan Yilmaz is 5'8". Greg Taylor's got more medals and trophies in his back bin than I care to think about. So how's Radvan too wee for the league? And how is Greg Taylor excelling in the league?
Well, Greg Taylor's mince. Let's be brutally honest. The guy's mince.
Many trophies as he won, Martin.
Aye, and that's fine. But there's plenty of mince players that have played in good teams.
So my point.
I get your point.
My point is I think the issue we've got is the fact that both our left backs are chalk and cheese. You've got one that wants to just pass the ball back, run up the line and put a cross in, and you've got one that wants to go outside or underlap. So see when you're, let's be honest, the old sleazy car salesman's absolutely fucked Yilmaz's season because he can't get a run of games because he's not in the Euro squad, right? I think we can all agree on that. When we need to find a way to get Yilmaz, if he's who we're going with, and I think he is good enough, by the way. I think he's good enough to play for Rangers. I don't think there's any way you can say he isn't. But we need to be playing a formation which allows Ridvan to excel in our team rather than having 1 week you're playing with Ridvan who's going to attack and run with the ball and look to, and then it comes to the Thursday night and you're back to Borna who's looking to play a wee triangle and just got up the line to cross it in. Now, for me, what's more effective for us if we can get Ridvan playing on a daily basis, on a game-to-game basis, is Ridvan giving you exactly what Taylor gives him, the ability to play as an underlapping wing-back, not just constantly up the line. But in order to play like that, you need to have the team playing like that. We're playing some games where you've got a left-back that wants to just stay out wide, and if MD comes near him, he'll just pass the ball back. And then in the next game, do you know what I'm talking about? There's such a disparity between the two different left backs, and I think that sometimes affects Yilmaz. And I think as well that the run of games Yilmaz had earlier in the season, that's when, I'm sure the comments will correct me, but is that no when Sima started coming onto a game because Yilmaz was cutting inside and dragging defenders in the way, and it was leaving Sima for the ball through the middle? Mate, I don't think Yilmaz is a lost cause by any manner of means, and I don't buy into this. I don't buy into this whole Scottish football thick as shit mentality that if you're no 6'3", you can't play in Scotland. That's bullshit. There's so many good players that come to this league. You only need to look across the city, and they've proven it. You can bring Kyogo in, who's fucking 5 foot nothing, the absolute height of shite, but he scores goals. And see if their movement's good enough and you can find a formation that suits them, even if it is the way Kyogo plays. I'll stand 2 yards offside, the ball get passed by me down the line, somebody will cut it back and I'll finish. See if you can find a way to accommodate that in your team. Why would you know? You don't have to be 6'3" and packing with muscles to go and play football and Scottish football, and that's, to me, that's the issue we've got here as well. Knocking back players that we think are too lightweight and people don't want this and they don't want that. It's bullshit. Yilmaz, if Yilmaz could play 2 games a week for Rangers, I personally believe that's who Clement would go with. But he's had to play Barisic because he's having to chop and change his formation every 2 games.
No, he is. If you get, are we dug in there with you, Ross?
Mate, he's come in, he's gone bush, he's eating all the Wayne's toys. I'm going to pop him out 2 seconds.
Can I just say a big thank you to Andrew McDonald, who has gifted 5 Rangers Rabble podcast memberships, and as has DC, he's also gifted 5 Rangers Rabble podcast memberships. So thank you to both. Thank you for helping support the channel, and you can become a member on YouTube as well, of course, by clicking the join button below if you're on computer. If you're on your phone, you go into the description of the video, and that's also where you'll find the link to our sponsors, NordVPN. Like I said at the beginning, 63% off a 2-year deal. Other deals, of course, are available. But if you use the link below, then you help to support the podcast. Right, okay. So what we're actually here to talk about, Mark, is the Old Firm. However, just before we get into that, was the postponed game against Ross County a help or a hindrance? Because, again, in the manager's press of the day, he spoke about he would actually rather have played the game. I'm in the same kind of, I'm along the same lines as him. I would have rather that we played, and I'm a little bit annoyed at the guys who were putting stuff into planes to make sure that it snowed over the A9. That frustrated me a wee bit.
It was a Masonic conspiracy, wasn't it? There was snow
If
machines
only people
everywhere.
knew how ridiculous that was.
It's
The same
mad.
Masonic conspiracy.
Listen, it's absolutely mad. Snow machines, and did anybody go and check that was actually the case? There was Celtic fans shouting about they were going to drive up and see if it was possible to get past. Mad. I mean, just mad. To be fair, I don't know why we're surprised, really. I mean, it's not the first time we've heard mince like this, absolute mince. For me, I think the players would probably have rather played as well. Listen, most of us have kind of played trying to play football. And every single one of us would rather play football than train. Simple as that. Absolutely simple. We'd rather play a game. We'd rather play in front of fans. We'd rather play competitively for 90 minutes. So I think that the players would have wanted to play it. I think that their kind of sports science would all be geared towards them playing. They'd have had to have rapidly changed what their goals and what their forecast was for their miles ran and all that good stuff. So they changed all that really, really quickly. As soon as it got cancelled, they'd have probably said, right, get your arse in early the next day. So for me, I would rather they played. I think the players would have rather played as well. And obviously Clement's come out and said that he would rather play. I think they're conditioned to play Thursday, Sunday at the moment. Whether they're probably not as fit as Clement would like them to be, but that their body's conditioned to play like that. They've been doing that for the last kind of best part of 6 months. So that for me, I would rather they played. I would rather have watched Rangers. It was quite a boring night without them. But you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. The opposite side of that coin is they play 90 minutes, 2 or 3 players get injured. We're up shit creek for the old firm. So as I said, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So thanks for hitting me with the hard questions.
No, that's all right. But on the flip side of that coin as well, we don't win tomorrow and we get beat. We're 8 points behind, regardless of games in hand. So, Brian, it's I don't think it is a catch-22. I think if you asked every Rangers player and most Rangers fans, what would you have rathered? It would have been play the game. And by the way, I think Stuart's absolutely right. It's a karma about Santa.
I mean, the thing with if we played on Wednesday and won the game, there was the potential that we could have been going to Parkhead this weekend with going top of the league. That and that mentally with a game in hand still. So that was mentally that would have been for the players that would have been massive for them to be top of the league looking down with a game still in hand. So yeah, it was a difficult one because obviously you're still worried about players getting injured and being out for the game tomorrow. But I think like every other Rangers fan,
you're fed up that way, Brian. So how bad was the weather?
Oh, the A9 was ridiculous. There, it was shut for. Well, there's people I knew traveling down, and they were stuck there for 7 hours, didn't move. So the road was blocked completely. It was just.
But you could just be saying that. You could be part of the conspiracy, Brian.
Maybe I am. Yeah, maybe. But no, it was truly awful. I think the A90 up to Aberdeen was blocked. The 82 was blocked. So there was no other way to get down. So I mean, it was absolutely treacherous. I think I do sort of believe that they should have played in the night before because the forecast was there to say that there was a bad storm coming in. So I think if you're, as Mark says, some of the scandalous things that people were saying on Twitter and the claims were just ridiculous. But I mean that's the world we live in. Going back to Yilmaz, I just shared with Ross there.
Brian was in a snow machine wearing his Masonic apron.
And can I just say Andrew Dallas was actually directing the snow delivery trucks to the VAR room and all. It was mad. So, bring it in, brethren. Bring it in, brethren. No, dump that one there.
I don't understand why it's a Masonic conspiracy, because anybody who knows anything about the Masons would realise how ridiculous that is, as to why it would be a Masonic conspiracy.
Going back to what Ross was saying about players' heights, I just did a quick Google search. It's not really that hard to look, but Lionel Messi is 5'7".
I know, but that's Messi. So,
but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's 5'7".
He could have been 3'5", and that
wouldn't matter. Roberto Carlos.
But again, that's what you can't compare any of these.
No.
People with world classes are completely different.
Roberto Carlos rocks up at Rangers. He's not big enough to play in a Scottish game.
No, listen, I get that, but I'm just saying when you're comparing when you're trying to talk about heights and stuff like that, you can't bring world class players into the discussion. Or, in my opinion, Messi, the greatest player of all time, you can't bring him
You
into.
kind of for me, you can bring it into that discussion because we're talking about that he's not big enough to play in the game. He's not big enough to play in the Scottish game, so of course you can bring him in it. Doesn't matter how good they are. That's what they're saying. That is the point. That is the statement. He is not big enough to play in the Scottish game. So that's like saying Roberto Carlos isn't big enough to play in the Scottish game. Messi isn't big enough to play in the Scottish game.
Xavi,
Yeah.
Iniesta. Yeah, I mean, the list goes on. The list goes on. Right, Ross, Old Firm tomorrow. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, mate. As I say, I've obviously lived with somebody for our side of the fence, and they are not confident, Martin. Going to whisper that because she's making my dinner now if I'm in the pod finishes. But they are shiting themselves, by the way. No, mate, I'm confident. I don't see it as Big Phil gave us anything at all to worry about yet. We went to Betis away. Nobody expected us to get a result, and tactically managed to get us something. As I say, mate, the Green Brigade hate Brendan Rodgers. See if we go there tomorrow and score an empty goal, that place turns toxic. You thought Ibrox was toxic at the start of this season. I mean, it's always toxic over there, but it's usually toxic waste. But they are, mate, you've watched them. I've watched them. They're nowhere near the team they were last season. They're nowhere near the team we allowed them to be this season at Ibrox by fucking the sleazy car salesman sitting off them. If you go and get in their faces, rough them up, they don't like that. And I think that the no fans in this occasion could actually work against them, because what an atmosphere there will be in there if Rangers go 1-0 up early doors, because they're already infighting. As I say, mate, they released a signing video for a player getting back fit, did they? A signing video? Top up and all that. I was like, Jesus Christ, I never thought a bad I would have signed in the deal there.
You're joking. They did. I thought that. What?
They released a montage of Liel Abada with his top up and all that for the moment they signed him right through, saying he's back.
Guess who's back?
3 months ago,
Is that the Israeli boy that they're
the face of genocide, mate? It is,
they've got flags up, like chanting against them and barring their ultras because of said flags, and all of a sudden we're bringing them in as a hero.
Yeah. So
I mean, don't get me wrong, we're all slagging it. He'll probably score a winner tomorrow now, right? That's probably
Royal no.
Listen, that
was a wee joke here, Mark. Calm down.
That whole thing for me is a nonsense, right? The both sides, right? That's a nonsense. It's something that's going on in a country that you know absolutely nothing about. I don't know enough about it to comment on it. What I do know is 3 months ago they wanted rid of him through their beliefs of this, right? Again, me, a daft boy, don't know anything about it. Live in Clybank, don't live in the Gaza Strip or anything like that. Not a clue what's going on. But they're now pinning their hopes on him. He's been out for how long? Months and months and months. They're going to throw him in. They're going to throw Hatate in. Whereas we're a bit more composed. I don't see Phil Clement going and asking somebody who's been out for 6 months to come back in and just play in this game just because they're that desperate. I firmly believe that we are, I've said it before on here, we're on the up, they're on the down. And I see it. I see it every day in my house. I was up at Christmas dinner at the in-laws, and honestly, they don't want to talk about football. All of a sudden, they don't want to talk about football.
Well, I mean,
and that tells me everything you need to know, because they've been having it large with me since me and Cole got together 2.5 years ago. I can assure you, they've been having it large every time they can get a chance to talk about it.
Can I just back up Roscoe? They are one defeat away from civil war. 100%. This will tip them. If we beat them tomorrow, this will tip them over the edge. There'll be all sorts of mad sharks and all sorts flying everywhere tomorrow. I'm telling you.
So Mark, on that then, is all the pressure on Celtic tomorrow?
100%. It's like a mad cult. The kind of mints that they come out with.
I'd agree with that.
They are on the verge of they fell out with their fans, they fell out with the ultras have fell out with the board. They didn't want Brendan back. Some of them did. They've chucked away a lead in the league. Poor performances, flung out of Europe. Pressure's on them 100%. And do you know what? I hope that we go there. And as our man Keegan said, I would love it, love it, love it. I'm telling you, because
Listen.
they are inches away. They love it. I mean, 3 weeks ago they were all boxing with each other and screaming and shouting at the bloody at the board. Try to confront the board now as they were getting huckled at. So listen, this will tip them over the edge. If we beat them, if we go there, I couldn't care less if we are absolutely awful and nick a 1-0 win. I could not. In fact, you know what? It would be better if we done that, because there'd be nothing better. That would drive them even more insane. But they are a ball here away from it all going tits up.
It's got
didn't help that Rod Stewart had a red, white, and blue tap on.
It's got that bad over there, Martin, that Rod Stewart's actually thinking about turning Coat back again.
Oh, is he actually thinking about getting back to him?
He's thinking about becoming a Rangers fan again. It's waited till he got a wee bit of fame and then dived on the bandwagon over there, and he's like, yeah. You know,
I'm just desperate to hear the 3 magic words tomorrow. That'll
that won't happen. That seeing unless it is an absolutely 100% clear cut penalty, Brian, that ain't happening.
Probably not, because the last penalty we got there was Kenny Miller.
Well, look at all the noise that's been made about penalties, and I mean, and it's not even something that I wanted to touch on, Brian, right? But the noise that gets made whenever we get a decision in our favour, leading up to big games, is incredible.
It's par for the course, I'm afraid. If there's ever talk and a bluster about penalties and Rangers, then there's obviously an old firm coming around the corner, and that's exactly what's happened. The pundits, the usual suspects, all come out with we've got to have a strong referee, we've got to have this, we've got to have that. I mean, the one against Motherwell wasn't even up for a debate, because it would have been a handball previous to the foul. And then the boy got booted, the goalkeeper got booted in the head as well. So
stamped on. I think he gets stamped on.
Exactly. Yeah, so there was 2 incidents there before anything. And the fact that Desser's shirt was nearly pulled off him by the guy that fell down on the ground. So, you know, it was laughable that people even came to the conclusion that was a penalty. It's just typical par for the course for a lot of those guys, I'm afraid. And I'm afraid as soon as Monday comes, or the Saturday before the Old Firm comes, it's just a case of you've just got to expect it and just brush it under the carpet.
Now, Ross, goalkeepers. Let's talk about goalkeepers, as it's a subject that you have some good knowledge about. One goalkeeper in Jack Butland, who is by far and away the best goalkeeper in Scotland, and that's not just from my blue tinted specs on. Right, I nobody can argue with that. Right, I apologise, Ross. Right, but nobody can argue with that. Right, in goals for them tomorrow is a very good shot stopper. In his day was a good goalkeeper. Right, but there's no contest about teams tomorrow who's got the better goalkeeper, and Joe Hart always gives you an opportunity.
I just say before I start answering, somebody's just gave me a row for always touching my face. Me and Cole were uphill walking earlier, and a fly flew in my eye, and since I've started rubbing it, I can't stop. It's really annoying me. On the goalkeeping situation, Joe Hart is the exact same position now as when I was getting grief on here 2 seasons ago for saying McGregor had went a season too long. He knows the fans are on his back. He knows that the fans don't really want him. They know that they're looking to replace him. And all of a sudden, a simple cross becomes an issue that you don't just come and take it. You punch it twice. Obviously, watched them against Hearts when the second best goalkeeper in Scotland was playing against them. And there was 2, mate, when they'd near him, and he's just punched them. I think he'll give you chances. But again, we need to be on the front foot in order to give him what to do. Too many times in the last few seasons, we've been too passive, whether it's at Parkhead or, as I say, earlier on the season at Ibrox. We are far too passive. We've sat off them. We've allowed O'Reilly and McGregor to run the pace of the game. We've got players in there that should be able to combat that. It's about how we do it, and I'm interested to see how Clement, who seems to be a studier of the game, says he's watched every game for this season. Wouldn't surprise me if he's watched every Celtic game since he came in, because I believe they must have dropped 7 or 8 points since he's been here when we've no, because we've clawed that gap back. I think the difference with having a manager is hopefully Joe Hart will be under pressure. Surely every corner, I know he likes his out swingers, but surely tomorrow you revert to in swingers and put the ball right on top of him, because I feel sorry. I feel sorry for him the same way I felt sorry for McGregor, because he's no asking. He will be asking to be first choice, but he'll know himself that he's conceding goals that before he would have saved relatively comfortably. Just hope Dessers is right on his tail. We need to press as a team. For me, that's the most important thing tomorrow. Pressing as a team. There's no point Dessers shutting down Joe Hart and Joe Hart's getting an easy pass to Scales or whatever other numpty are playing at centre half. Who's the other one? Welsh. Scales, Welsh. It looks as if it'll be Reto for what I was reading earlier. But we need to then have Sima on one of them and McCausland, if it is him, Dill, whoever, pressing as a group, because they will play it for the back. We know that they'll play it for the back. But see if you can get it that Joe Hart's not got an easy pass to make, he's going to give you chances. We've seen that this season and last season. On the subject of Jack Butland, what else can you say? Like, what else can you say other than Rangers or Celtic shouldn't have a goalkeeper of that calibre? He should be playing English Premier League, but he's been grossly undervalued by a couple of teams down there over the last couple of seasons. And for me, the only thing you can hope is this season he's already got his hands on a bit of silverware. His first cup final at 30 years of age. A boy that's got 16 caps or something, six or 16 caps for England. Played at Man U, played at Crystal Palace, played at Stoke. Never played in a cup final. And that was his first taste of it. So for me, that's all you can hope. All you can hope is that Butland gets that wee taste of success this season, realises how undervalued he's been down the road, and wants to commit to being our number one for the next 6 seasons, 5-6 seasons. 30, 31 years the new. McGregor showed you he can play in this league, and Joe Hart's showing you the new as well. A goalie will play to 36, 37 without any danger.
As long as they're good enough at that age.
And
McGregor was good enough right up until, 38? Something like that?
That's what I'm saying. McGregor's proved that it's once you get nearer to that big 4-0 mark in it and the body starts naturally aging. I don't know what Butland's like off the park. Obviously McGregor, like to night out in a swally. He's maybe never looked after his body as well as he could have, and it's probably something.
He did do a lot of exercise in his spare time though.
He did. His hips were absolutely massive. His buttocks were massive, because all he did was that was him on a punching bag, by the way. Dirty bastards.
Cardio in, wasn't he? He was getting his cardio in.
Yes.
Hey, hold on. We've got a super chat in from Des. Martin, please pronounce my surname correctly this time. It's
Mason, not Mason. It's Mason, not Mason.
Mason, not Mason. Mason. Des Mason. Thank you very much, Des. And I like it when people clear that up for me, because I genuinely hate getting folks' names wrong.
Dave Masson, out with a bucket of snow, filling off the A9 passing.
So thank you very much, Des, for the support as ever. And get your comments in about tomorrow. Let us know what you think. Let us know what your worries are. Let us know what you think is going to be positive. Let us know absolutely everything. Now, Mark, we spoke there about Joe Hart. Obviously, we're reading reports as well that Carter Vickers is out. I don't know. Other players are out in defence for them. I genuinely don't know any other defenders apart from Scales and Taylor. That's it. Is that going to be our avenue of success tomorrow in the high press? Is it, like Ross says, do we need to press high? And Because if you think about it, if Joe Hart constantly gives you chances with the defenders that he's got, now I rate Carter Vickers quite highly for when I've seen him. I think he's a really, really, really good centre back. With him missing tomorrow, is it a case of for the first whistle on them?
I think even under Ange, the high press was the way to beat them. I think there's mistakes in here. I'm a massive fan of the high press. I'm a massive fan of not giving anybody time on the ball. So for me, that's massive. As I said, for me, that's how you would get joy even Angie's team, because they like to move the ball quick. But you don't give them time to do that. There's definitely mistakes in this Celtic backline. I think that the only way you beat them is by the high press. I think that you need to get in their faces for the word go. I think you don't give them time to settle, don't give them time to start knocking the ball about and playing passes. I think that's the way to beat them. I think it's been a way to beat them for the last probably 2 or 3 years. So it's going to be massive. It's going to be massive how we press it. And I think that probably under Clement, I think that's what's improved massively on this side. I think their press, I think at some points under Beale, we didn't know, do we press, do we not press, do we sit off? Half a team pressed, half a team sat off.
Sometimes under Beale, I don't think we knew we were playing football.
Aye, yeah, 100%. So I think that that's what he's come in. He's come in and he said to them, look, I want you to press from the start, high, get in their faces. One of you trigger it. Once it's triggered, everybody goes. Simple as that. Get tight. And he's no shy to go man for man either. So I like that. For me, that's the way football should be played. I think that you play the game in the front foot. Even if you've not got the ball, you play the game in the front foot, if that makes sense. So that's what you need to do. I think it'll be massive tomorrow, and I think that that'll be the difference. I mean, it showed you the last game as well. Slightly pressed them high, and Dessler's nipped in and took the ball off the boy. So that's the way to beat this mob. 100%. You get in about them. Don't give them time to get settled. Don't give them time to start getting their passing together. You get into them hard and fast. That sounds like something Shaggy will be up to. But yeah,
my chair. I really need to get a new chair, man.
Hard and fast and
deep.
Deep.
Sounds like McGregor.
And right into their mince.
Right. Bryan, on the other hand, though, if we try and take a look at this from, if I play the devil's advocate point of view, a lot of these games are won in the midfield. Is there a possibility that we're going into it with a weaker midfield in them tomorrow?
Possibly. The manager, as usual, doesn't give much away in press conferences, so we don't really know if Lundstrom's going to make it for the game tomorrow. But we have a new enforcer in there, and Dujon Sterling. He is absolutely amazing in that role. He's not scared of a tackle. He covers ground very quickly. He's very quick as well. I mean, there was a few times, I think it was in the Betis game and another game, where he strode out the midfield and got us up the park and relieved the pressure off the defence. So he's certainly one that I anticipate to start tomorrow for definite. Who joins him is the big question. Will Dowell keep his place after scoring against Motherwell? Lundstrom's the big sort of conundrum. Is his injury as bad as what we feared? So it's all okay. In some respects, I kind of like the fact that Beale told us everything, but see, looking at back now, I actually prefer this, keeping it like Clement keeping his cards close to his chest and not giving away anything. I much prefer that. And yeah, it all depends when we see the starting lineup as well. For me, until we see the starting lineups, then we'll sort of know who's got the more stronger midfield.
Is it an issue, Ross, if it's Sterling and Dowell in the middle of the park? Is that an issue going up against them? Because like you're saying, it'll be, I would imagine it'll be Callum, McGregor and
Mate, it looks like they're going to
35 million boy.
Well, O'Reilly. Yeah.
Looks like they might throw Hatate back in there, mate. Gone by there. So they also done an announcement video for Hatate being back fit as well. So
I mean, look, the one thing I will say, if I'm being deadly serious, is O'Reilly's a player. Matt O'Reilly's a very good footballer. I'm in the middle of that park. And if you've got McGregor, who I think they severely overrate, personally, And again, that might be the blue tinted specs talking, but I think they severely overrate McGregor. But if you were given the option of McGregor and O'Reilly over Sterling and Dowell, Ross, who would you be more confident with?
Yeah, you've kind of loaded me up there, haven't you? You've gave me a chance to have a good chance of getting brown sauce in my dinner and everything. Mate, I'm not going to lie, mate. I've spoke highly about players for every team in the league. They too are good players, mate, if you allow them to dictate the game. We too often allow them to dictate the game. Against Hearts, O'Reilly was through a 4-yard head start on Kye Rowles, and Kye Rowles got back and tackled him. They're not blessed with pace. For me, Callum McGregor is very good. Whisper it. I don't want to hear people hear me saying that. But
is that a case of stop him, Ross, stop them, like Smoke said?
Well, the 3-0 game last season, towards the end of the season, Cantwell sat on McGregor everywhere he went. Cantwell went, marked him at the game, never had a shot. He never marked Cantwell at the game, and Cantwell scored the first goal. I think Sterling is the cover to allow us to press them with Tav and Borna high, because Sterling can fill in at left back and right back. That's his natural positions, as well as being a battler in the middle. I think his pace and power is equal to and or greater than that of, say, an O'Reilly. But you're talking about a central midfield that's made up of 2 central midfielders, and you're talking about a central midfield that looks as if it could be made up of an attacking midfielder and a right back. So what would you rather take, if you're honest? You'd rather have a centre midfield that's been playing together all season. But again, don't underestimate how good Sterling is in that position. It doesn't look as if the game will phase him. 20 odd 30 games for Stoke. Stoke's player of the year last season. So it's not as if he's not played in big games and big atmospheres. I think Dujon Sterling could be the same as he was in Betis, the same as he has been in the games after. I think he could be your difference maker tomorrow. If you just say to him, you're the defending guy, you sit and see any time one of the 2 goes to run by you, you just follow them. And that then frees up Cantwell. Best situation for me is Lundstrom's fit, and you can then get Lundstrom in there with him, and you've got the 2 players that can cover if the 2 of them decide to go. Hatate is also a player who's another one of the guys that's about 5'6" that's came to haunt us a couple of times, scored a few goals in Old Firm games. I think the most important one in our midfield 3, the more is Cantwell in that 10. How much defensive work does he do? How much is he allowed to gamble and go and get involved in the box? And I think Phil Clement is the type of guy that wants to win games that'll take the leash off him the more and say, you make sure you're in the box every time it comes and go and get me goals. I think Cantwell will score tomorrow. And I think that'll send him. I think that'll send him over the edge as well. Especially if he goes right in front of the Green Brigade and does some sort of TikTok dance, that would make my year.
We getting a build-up pod in the morning, guys, or you're going to be too steaming? No, there will be a build-up an hour before kick-off, so make sure and tune in for that. That will hopefully maybe be set up tonight, probably more so in the morning. Before we come to Cantwell, Mark, and I do realise that we're well over the hour, so you expect your overtime pay in the post. How big is it that Connor Goldson's fit tomorrow?
I think it's important. I think it's no massively important. I think it's important. I think that he's turned into Steady Eddie. I think that Balogun plays well alongside him. I think, to be fair, I think every other centre half plays well alongside him. So I think it's important. I don't think it's absolutely essential, but it's good that he's back. For me as well, I feel as if he's as I said, very much Steady Eddie, but I feel as if he's not been at his best this season. Probably like the rest of the team, I suppose, but he's starting to come into form just at the right time. But yeah, I think that everybody that plays to the left of him always plays better. So definitely a boost for us if he plays. Hopefully, as I said, it was just a wee kind of, they took him off, just more of a wrap him in cotton wool than actually being a bad injury as such. So I I think he kind of said that he'd trained today, so I mean, he can't be far away if he's trained today, so I'm hoping that. But like Ross said as well, the big one for me is probably, and I can't believe I'm saying it, but Lundstrom. I think Lundstrom, if Lundstrom's 85%, I think he plays. I think him and Sterling are the two holding midfield roles. I think the two of them complement each other. I think that they're in there, and I think that, to be perfectly honest, if you looked up and you seen Sterling's a massive unit, he's a big lad. You see him, pace and power, and you see Lundstrom as well, that doesn't mind sticking his foot in. I think that if we all talk about it, first and foremost, you win a battle, you win the right to play, don't you? So I think that that's quite formidable. I think, like you obviously said earlier, a Dowell. I think Dowell's get the vision. I don't know if he's get the get the sleeves up and get dug in, which is probably your first 15-25 minutes of an Old Firm game. That's kind of what it's about. Win the battle, win the right to play, and kind of impose yourself in a game. So I don't know. He's definitely got the vision. He's definitely got the guile. I mean, some of the balls that he's put in and threaded through over the last couple of games is some of them been very impressive, and I have been impressed by him. But I think that more than Goldson, I think we're two central midfielders is going to be the big thing.
Massive welcome to Dean Bailey, brand new channel member. Thank you very much, Dean. And he's also put in a super chat as well. So thank you. When you put in your super chats, Dean, make sure and put in your comments so we can respond to them as well. So thank you very much for your support. Bryan, Todd Cantwell, is he pivotal tomorrow? Does everything, not everything, because obviously we'll have Sima as well on the pitch, but is Todd Cantwell, is he the main man? Is he who's going to win us a game?
He's certainly got the potential. Obviously with his goal at Motherwell, that'll give him a bit of confidence. He's certainly a guy that can unlock defenses with a pass or a shot. So he's very. I think he's one of these guys that's he plays on confidence, and if he's playing a lot and he's involved in the game a lot, his confidence grows and he starts to contribute more. I think when he doesn't get the ball and he sort of maybe loses a bit of interest and the head goes down because he doesn't feel he's contributing. So, but I think after his goal against Motherwell, Cantwell's confidence will be very high. So as Ross says, I think he'll have a bearing on tomorrow. I'm not saying he's going to score, but I believe he'll have a bearing somehow tomorrow.
Right, Ross, you're starting 11.
You need to tell me who's fit first, boss.
I don't know, because the boss hasn't told me who's fit, so I don't know. If we're assuming that Goldson's, because look, if Goldson's trained, Goldson will play. Goldson will want to play. So let's assume that Goldson's available.
Is Borna available?
Possibly.
So I can't give you my team name because I don't know who's playing left back. Is Borna available?
Okay, let's say Borna's available.
Right, okay. So I'd go McLaughlin, Devine, Iveco, Butland, Tavernier, Golson, Balogun, Barisic, Lundstrom. Is he fit? Can I put him in my speculative 11?
I would no. I don't think he's going to be. I don't think Lundstrom's going to be fit. No.
I think he's going to play tomorrow.
I think he'll play tomorrow.
Right. So Lundstrom, and if Lundstrom's not fit, who would you play in his place?
Well, you've not got many options, mate. It's Dowell in there, innit?
There you go. Right. Okay.
So for me, everything gone right, and my suspicion that Lundstrom is a bit fitter than we're letting on, I would go Lundstrom, Sterling, Sima on the left, Cantwell in the 10. Controversial opinion, Kieran Dowell on the right, okay. McCausland on the bench, and then up front, probably the old guy that sits 3 rows back for the dugout that looks like Santa. Fuck him in there. It's going to need to be Dessers, isn't it? But let's be positive, right? He's let's just tell him he's offside all the time, because see, when he's offside, he turns into fucking prime Ronaldo. I don't understand it. But I think tomorrow's a game where you get 2 or 3 clear-cut chances, and you probably need to score 2 of them. That's my thoughts on it, and I don't think Dessers is that guy. That's my only worry tomorrow. My only worry is we don't put the ball in the net when we get our chances. So that's my team.
Right, well, I'll come to the other two guys in a second, but Test Video, thank you very much for your super chat. Mind and put your comments in so we can see them and we know what ones are the ones you're wanting to.
Can I just answer James Quinn, who's got a picture of his bird on his YouTube, which is weird. But James Quinn is saying, Ross, away you go, McCausland on performance alone. When has Ross McCausland contributed to a game since Betis? He gave away 2 goals at Betis, no in the defensive side, and since then he's played the safe option every game. He's not had a standout moment. And I said it earlier on in the pod. I'm not saying he's not a good player. I'm not saying he'll not make it at Rangers, but I don't think putting him into the game at Parkhead tomorrow is where you're going to get the best out of him. He's not looked at scoring. He's not really looked at assisting over the last 3 or 4 games. So that's, for me, Bobby Finlay said it there. I've said it to you in the group chat as games are going on now. McCausland's getting the ball and he's running infield until somebody tackles him and then either gives it away or plays the ball back. He's running in straight lines. He's not taking people on. He's just running infield across until somebody tackles him. And that's inexperience. It's probably lack of confidence. The first 2 games he played, you're playing as I said earlier, the new boy in the team. You're out to improve a point. Once you've had that jersey for 3 or 4 games, that dynamic changes. That dynamic to me changes, and it becomes then your position to lose. And then all of a sudden, do you take that guy on because you know then there's a chance of losing your jersey? As I said before, we've done it with Leon King, and we've had to take him out of the team for a year. I think Dowell's got maybe a goal threat. He's got a lot more first team experience at a much higher level than McCausland. I'm not saying McCausland can't come on at 60 minutes against a tired defence and make a difference, but my personal opinion is we're going to end up burning the boy out. And I think that if you put him in there tomorrow and he does the same as he does it against Betis and is at fault for 2 goals, it could ruin his Rangers career before it's even got started. Because see, the same people that are slagging me for not picking him now, they'll be the first people to round on him the same way they did with Leon King when he had a few bad games in the Champions League.
Mark, you get many changes for Ross's team because, look, channel member David saying we need pace on both wings. I hate having slow players out there. McCausland right or Matondo for me on the right.
Yeah, so I don't think Lundstrom's going to be fit. I really don't. So I think the 2 defensive midfielders are going to be Sterling and Dowell, and I think that negates Rossi's playing Dowell on the right. So I think McCausland will go in there. And for me as well, left back, I would play Ridvan, and I would play Ridvan purely. Well, I'm saying purely two reasons I would play Ridvan.
Is Ridvan
his positivity.
Fit?
I think so.
Well, if he's fit for me, he plays.
Yes. So for me, but 2 things for Ridvan. His positivity on the ball, the fact that he likes to get forward, the fact that he likes to join in attacks, the fact that he's got pace, the fact that he's good one-on-one. And the other thing for me is that Barisic has, for some reason, failed to get past a man or even try and overlap for 18 months. Granted, he's a great crosser of the ball, but he's just touching the ball and flinging in. He's 35 yards out and he's just flinging in balls into the box. For me as well, when he's playing against a winger, he's got this thing about giving him 10 yards and then backing off and backing off and backing off and backing off. And you can't do that against Celtic. You can't do that against a decent winger. So for me, that's the 2 main reasons. I think the positivity, granted, Yilmaz has not got the best final ball, but he gets into far more goal scoring opportunities than Barisic has ever done. As I said, his tenacity and that kind of whole terrier-like thing that he's in about it. All right, he might not win a high ball, but I'm not really caring. For me, he's a far better defender one-on-one, and for me, he's far better going forward as it stands at the minute. All right, he can't cross, but he's only, 22, 23? I don't believe he's young. You can learn to cross the ball. You can't learn how to defend one-on-one. As Barisic has showed us, he's got worse instead of better. So that's my change. Left back Yilmaz. I think Dowell will be the centre mid with Sterling and McCausland on the right. Hopefully that kind of fact that he's a homegrown, he's one of our own, and he's got a bit between his teeth. His first start in an Old Firm game, he that puffs out his chest, and he goes on to play a blinder. I think Dessers has started to come onto a bit of a game. His confidence is starting to get a bit better. What has he scored? 3 in the last 5 or something, or 4 in the last 7, something like that. So I think he's due a good performance. I think his performances gradually and very slowly get better and better. So this might be the turning point. I'm hoping this is a catalyst for a lot of these boys to kick on and take it to them. So that's really my only changes would be Dill for Lundstrom and McCausland on the right, Yilmaz on the left.
Right. Finally then, Brian, and we'll wrap this up so we can let everybody go and start the drinking the night before the game. Do we have to try and remember, though, that, in fact, I'll ask it a slightly different way. Will the manager, as it's his first Old Firm, as we have seen in the past with Beale, we've seen it with Gio, and we've also seen it with Gerrard in their first Old Firm, that they perhaps make decisions that they wouldn't because maybe they overthink it a bit like maybe we're overthinking it now? Should we, is that anything to worry about? Or do we, as we've probably said with every manager that we've had, does this feel different?
I think what you've just said there is completely true. He's a different manager. I think he approaches things very logically and very demanding. He's very demanding of the players, and he won't. I wouldn't imagine he'll change anything for tomorrow. He'll go and he's a born winner. He's won leagues, as we've spoke about many a time. He'll go into that game tomorrow with the same attitude as if it was Livingston at the bottom of the league. He'll treat it as any other game.
Do you think so? Do you really believe that?
Yeah, I just think that's the way Clement is. I just don't think he won't change for anybody. He'll do things his way. He'll pick the players that he believes at the time that are fit and available will play, and he fully trusts this team. I think the last few games, I mean, we've came over the hurdles of being like, say, away at Hearts. We've won there. We've won the group stage. We won the League Cup. He's over the last, well, since he's came in, he's passed many tests, and this is the biggest of them all. So it's almost like it feels like one last push before the winter break, because this is I wouldn't say it's make or break the season, but it'll be a big telling on the league campaign.
So final point to you then, Ross, just on Clement, and it's pretty much the same question that I asked Bryan. Now, maybe the difference being is that we've actually got a manager now, an experienced manager, who has obviously managed in derbies before. I know that a lot of us in the West like to think that there's only one derby in world football, right? But that's not how it works. There is other derbies out there. So is he coming into this just with his own philosophy in the way that he would absolutely play it, or is there an opportunity for him to overthink things?
There's always an opportunity to overthink things, but it doesn't seem like the type to me that's going to go. But what if? I think the problem we had under Beale especially was he was so worried about what they were going to do that he never worried about what we could do. I'm all about just go and play our own game. Went and beat Betis away in Betis. I was doing my mark. I was doing my homework again there when I was just looking through Ross McCausland's contributions. So he played 49 minutes at St Mirren in a 3-0 win. He's played 78 minutes against Livingston in a 2-0 win. He's played 80 minutes against St Mirren in a 2-0 win, 90 against Hearts in a 1-0 win, 45 against Dundee in a 3-1 win, 90 against St Johnstone in a 2-0 win, and 72 minutes against Motherwell in a 2-0 win. How many goals and assists he's got? No. Middle of a parliament, Martin.
That doesn't mean he hasn't contributed to the game, though.
I'm not saying he's not. How many goals has Kieran Dowell got from 3 performances this season, Martin?
1, 2.
There you go. So my eyes didn't deceive me. I'm not saying the boys know are going to be a great player for Rangers. I think he will, and it's good to have young Rangers players in about the squad. I just don't think tomorrow's the day for throwing them in. What did you ask me question-wise again?
About Clement and overthinking it, or is he getting into this as the manager that he is?
I think Clement is the type of guy that just smells blood. Wants to go and win games. He said it before, didn't he? First interview, I'm a football animal. He'll have been sitting, beads of sweat running down his head, just stroking his goatee like that, just salivating at how bad they've been. Now, you know yourself, I have watched every Hearts game this season. I watched Hearts beating them 2-0. And would you rather have our players or Hearts players? Hearts showed the blueprint. Just go and beat them. See, every time Mikey Johnson got the ball, Alex Cochrane was right up his arse and just took it off him, like taking candy off a baby. They're pinning their hopes on him as well, because he scored 2 goals the other day. So this is what I'm talking about, mate. Mikey Johnson wouldn't even get a look in at the Rangers team.
No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. He absolutely wouldn't.
Rocky,
By the way, I know how painful that is, Ross, because, I mean, it might never happen, but I've got a family member who's doing pretty well, and if he was to get through to the first team, then I'd have to go and watch Dundee United most weeks. So I feel your pain.
mate, I quite enjoy watching. Hearts as well, to be fair, and you see a lot more of the league. But for me, Clement tomorrow's just got to pick his best 11 and go and play our game. Celtic, when they went to Betis and won, under that pressure, they've proved they'll go anywhere and win in Europe, really, when it matters. So I think that we've got a gaffer now that's going to look at their weaknesses and find a way for us to battle them, rather than looking at our weaknesses and wondering, like we did in the first Old Firm game of the season, playing Cantwell on a right air middle four to cover for Tav. So every time Tav went forward, you took Cantwell out of the game. Just bonkers decisions that McBeal made, that when you look back on them now, you're like, how did he ever get a job? How's he went and got another job in football? I don't know. But I think now we've got a real football manager, Martin, that will hopefully come and give us a performance that we can be proud of tomorrow. And that's all you can ask, is that we go and turn up. That's all you can ask, that we go and turn up.
It's not the end of the world if the worst happens tomorrow, right? Obviously, we don't want that to happen, but the way that we've got to look at it is that the manager's come in and he's got us back into a position where tomorrow's more huge for them than what it is for us. I think that's the way that we have to look at this tomorrow, and just go into it and like Ross says, give it absolutely everything. So with that said, Mark, prediction
2-0 Rangers. Dessers to score the first.
I love it. And we're going to play penalty bingo in a minute as well. Bryan, prediction
2-1 Rangers. I hate goal predictions. And Seema.
Nice. Ross
2-0 Cantwell. Celtic will have no shots on target.
That's
keep that run going.
By the way,
keep that
check
run
that
going.
for the odds. Check that for odds, by the way.
Keep that run going.
Rangers penalty bingo. Ross, you'll start with you.
Mate, there's absolutely no chance we get a penalty there tomorrow because of the clowns in the media. It was up until a month ago, it was how many penalties the Rangers get. Rangers have it, and then until somebody went, Celtic have had 9 and we've had 8. What are you talking about? And then now all of a sudden it's Rangers have not had a penalty given against them in so long. And as Bryan says earlier, you've got Sky Sports, that wee baldy cretin there, fence mark, Dermot Gallagher or whatever his name is, on at the weekend telling you how that's a penalty every day of the week, but no showing the full sequence where the Motherwell player handballs it, no showing it for the other angle where you can see Dessers. So it's just getting ramped up. And so as much as I love Chris Boyd because he's a wind-up merchant, that's all he is. You've got people for the other side of this city who work in punditry, who feed into that narrative, mate, and it's something that our club and our ex-players haven't got in them. The dirty side of the game, the dark arts, if you want, riling up the pressure. You had Charlie Mulgrew doing it before. Who was it before the last Old Firm game? When I was playing for Celtic, I was told you'll never get a penalty at Ibrox and all that. So they just jot out all these mad old washed up has-beens to start peddling absolute bullshit. And the media up here lap it up. We're the only club in the world that cheat to win every game, but have won fucking 2 trophies out the last 150. Unbelievable. Like, for a team that won, Martin, the biggest thing for me is, see this season alone, see if Dessers' goal against them in the first Old Firm game, Roof's goal, which Dessers is chalked off through a VAR decision, bearing in mind your Masonic VAR chalked it off, that's a 6-point swing. We would have had 3 points more and they'd have had 3 points less. We'd be tanning their wee bare arses in the league this year if it wasn't for VAR going against us in a blatant decision that went against us in an Old Firm game. And yet you're back here again and you've got folk peddling the same bullshit to make sure we don't get a penalty, to make sure there's pressure, to make sure that there's the referees are scared to give decisions in case their house windies get smashed and all that lunatic behaviour. That's where we're at in this country. And that all comes for the media. It comes for the press. It comes for ex-players. Clowns. Comes for clowns. But
listen,
I'll tell you what, there's absolutely no danger we go there and get a penalty tomorrow. That's where it is.
Bryan?
I think we will. I don't know why. I've just got a funny feeling. I think it's just gonna send them over the edge, as Mark said earlier. I think this will just put the cherry on the top of the cake. I think, and that'll just send them over the edge. They'll just go absolutely apoplectic, and I can't wait for it.
Well, you never gave me the minute though. It's penalty bingo, for God's sake.
34 minutes.
Mark?
I'm kind of in the middle between the two of them. I think that the referee's not going to have the bottle to award a penalty, but I think we will get a penalty via VAR. The Masonic VAR, the kind of conspiracy theory. Somebody's been paid off. It might be a brother in there on that screen trying to manipulate lines, make them squiggly. I think we'll get awarded a penalty VAR. I think Tav will score it 15 minutes. Bosh.
And can I just say a massive thank you to Jimmy Butt for his super sticker. Thank you very much, Jimmy, for the support. Right, Ross, quickly.
Can we talk about the lines that were drew on Dessers for his offside goal the other day, by the way? The green grass between him and the line at Fir Park. Probably the worst lines you'll ever see. Horrendous.
My 9-year-old could have done better.
But again, mate, that's something that doesn't even get spoke about. But something gets spoke about for weeks and weeks that was a handball in the build-up to an incident, which is two players pulling at each other, their player being the worst of it. But you don't hear anything about Desser's goal. Better not tell him.
Because 8 times out of 10 we can accept when we either get a poor decision or we get beat. How many times have we come on a reaction after we've been beaten and went, we were crap. We deserve to.
I'll tell you what the difference is. We've been through torture. We have to fight and kick for everything we get. Celtic have been handed in some cases over a Zoom call. Everything over the last X amount of years when Scottish football booted us right to the bottom league. Right? Celtic have become an entitled club, mate, that think that if it's not gone for them, they're like a Wayne. They're like my 8-year-old child that thinks that when you don't give her something, you're against her and you're this and you're that. See, sometimes you don't get to win everything. You don't get to win. Mark Wilson on Super Scoreboard, I'm saying it the other day. A guy that was at Parkhead saying that his boy was absolutely devastated with the hostility in the atmosphere. And Mark Wilson quite rightly said, well, your wee boy will need to get used to it. Because see now, there's a team coming back who have came for the doldrum, go up there and then fell off a bit. But don't make no mistake about it. We're right back in a title race here. Right now, we've got to be the favourites. If we win our game in hand, we go ahead. There are 2 games in hand, we go ahead. We've got to be the favourites. But we need to go and prove it tomorrow. This is when we find out who's got the balls for the fight. Is tomorrow when we rock up Parkhead.
Yep, 100%. We've got to prove it tomorrow, and then we've got to continue proving it throughout the season. When the going gets tough, we've got to prove it. And if we don't prove it and we don't win the league, then it happens. It's no conspiracy. It's no Masonic, whatever their version of that is, which ironically is Masonic as well. It's no conspiracy.
Yeah, Martin, I think just to back up what Ross is saying, I think that Clement it's a big one for Clement as well tomorrow, that he knows who's up for the fight and who's going to come with him. And I think that's going to be massive going into this transfer window. So I think that a lot of these players are coming out and they're probably their last chance saloon to find out if they've got the guts, the balls and the heart to go on and kick on and win this league.
Aye, absolutely. And we shall see tomorrow But we'll be back tomorrow at 11:30 for all the build-up to the game once the teams have been announced, and we'll get into it a lot more. We'll know if Lundstrom's fit. We'll know if Goldson's fit. We'll know if Borner's fit. We'll pretty much know who's fit and who's no fit. I think that's pretty much what I'm trying to get at.
You'll know the team lineup by then as well.
Yeah. And at what point was I quoting Ronan Keating? At what point did that happen?
Talking about fit, by the way.
Right, okay. Yes, so thank you everybody for tuning in. Massive thank you to everybody who sent in a super chat and a super sticker, and people who joined as members and people for giving out memberships. All the support is absolutely really, really greatly appreciated. Like I say, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, please do subscribe. Before this podcast started, we were 500 away from 10,000 subscribers, as I try to ignore Ross laughing. Somebody complained about the comment, but again, it zoomed past about Facebook comments not getting brought up. I try to bring up as many comments as I can. We don't have that many people on Facebook, so I don't see as many Facebook comments, but I always do try and bring up as many as I can. So like, follow, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Help the podcast grow. Head over to our sponsors, NordVPN. The link for that is in the description. If you use that link, then you help to support the podcast. So once again, thank you, Bryan. Thank you, Ross. Thank you, Mark. And we shall see you all again right back here on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube for build up to the Old Firm. Good night.